Morning peeps, good morning everyone, how's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Alright, before we have a look and see what there is to talk about today, there should be loads. We haven't done a video in a few days. I do quickly want to share something with you guys, very important as well. The other day was Men's International Health Day, the 19th of November, and I was asked to speak on a panel in central London about my own journey through mental health, depression, anxiety, etc, etc. Not an easy subject to talk about, but as I've got older, I'm a bit more comfortable discussing those things. One of the topics that we were talking about was suicide and the suicide rate. And I was astounded by the rate of suicides, particularly in men, last year. So last year, there were over 5,000 suicides in the UK, over 5,000. I think the exact number is something like 5,300. 75% of those were men. 75%. And it just got me thinking, like, we need to, especially as men, you know, because we do, you know, shy away from having difficult discussions. We need to feel comfortable having open discussions if we're going through shit. We need to do it. Again, I speak from experience where I used to not talk at all. I used to go home, shut the door, pull the curtains back and hope my problems will go away. And they never did. And then it gets on top, on top, on top. And then you're having stupid thoughts. And the fact that, nearly 4,000 men, it was, by the way, it was men under the age of 45. The fact that nearly 4,000 men under the age of 45 committed suicide last year, for me, says that we're not talking enough. There's almost this fear of how we're going to be judged, or this feeling of whatever problem we're going through isn't going to go away. And I think the first thing we need to do is talk. Like, talk. I mean, I don't do it as much anymore, but you guys know in the past, especially if you've been watching the channel for a while, I used to kind of say, look, I'm going to call as many people as possible and just check in with people. But the first thing you should be doing is checking in with yourself. Like, I always press the pause button when it gets a bit on top, and I'm like, let me just check in with myself, whether it be go for a walk, a bit of music, go to the gym, do something. So yeah, look, I don't want to like get into a whole deep discussion with you guys. I know you guys have come to hear my thoughts on boxing, but please, 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 again, hearing those stats, I was like, wow. I knew it was high, but I didn't know it was that high. So please check in with each other, check in with yourself. And I will do that thing again where I phone people, because I phoned a few people that I feel like are on the edge, and hopefully like me having a conversation with them has cheered them up a little bit and they feel a bit better. But please check in with each other, and I definitely will in the next couple of weeks when it gets a bit quieter for me. I will sort of do that thing where I phone as many people as possible and just have a conversation. All right, let's talk some boxing. I didn't do any reaction videos to the weekend's boxing. Obviously, Boxer put on a card. Tyler Denny, Adam Azim headlining that, and then Queensbury put on a card, which was a magnificent card called Magnificent 7. It really was that good. The main event kind of was Nick Ball versus Isaac Dogbo, but the main event in terms of who walked last was Nathan Heene versus Denzel Bentley. And look, I mean, well done to Nathan Heene. I don't know how many people predicted that, but I certainly didn't. I thought Denzel Bentley would make easy work of it. I thought he was going to get to him. I thought Nathan Heene, because he's got a crowd and he's a big middleweight, I thought it would cause him some problems, but I didn't expect him to be so elusive, hands down. I was like, what's going on? And I think it surprised Denzel Bentley. And I mean, look, congratulations to Nathan Heene, British champion. And I tweeted this as well, like, I'm all for fighters going the international route. Like you said, a lot of fighters now skip sort of the area titles and English titles and British titles and go straight for, even European titles, and go straight for, your international belts. But there is something special, I think, about winning that Lonsdale belt. And I think you saw what it meant to Nathan Heene. And now he's banked that. Now anything else is a bonus. I mean, I don't think many people thought Nathan Heene would become British champion. So now anything else, whether it be a world title shot, because that's what I'm hearing, or a European title shot, potentially against the Tyler Denny, anything else now is a bonus. So congratulations to him, and congratulations to Frank as well. What a good card. And Frank's had a great year. Frank, this might be the best year of Frank's career. I know that's crazy, right? Because he's been doing this for over 40 years. But you think of some of the cards he's put on, some of the size of them as well, especially with what's going on in Saudi Arabia. That's him, right? That's him. Daniel Dubois getting the shot against Alexander Usyk. Those two fights, Joyce and Zhang. He's had a good year. He's had a very, very good year. So good luck to him next year, because he's obviously got the undisputed heavyweight title. It doesn't get any bigger than that, does it? And Frank Frank has got that. All right, we are going to do a separate video for Demetrius Andrade versus David Benavidez. What a good fight that is at 168 pounds. I'm so happy that Demetrius has gotten an opportunity. He's been calling out the big names, hasn't got them. He's been calling out both Charlos for years, Canelo for years. He thought signing to DAZN and Eddie would get him those opportunities, and it didn't happen. He's got one now. Sorry, he's got one now. What is he, 35? It's not going to be easy going up in weight against Benavidez, but a lot of people think he's going to win. So we'll do a separate video on that because I think that deserves a separate video. All right, let's start with this one. Daniel Dubois, dismissive of Jarrell Miller trash talk. I'm going to chop that tree down. A lot of people think that's the fight of the card, December 23rd. It's a good one, isn't it? It's a good one. I haven't seen much of Jarrell Miller since the drug ban, so I don't know if he's the Jarrell. Do you remember Jarrell Miller's stats, by the way? Punch output stats were insane, like off the chain. I think he had an output better than any heavyweight in history. Something crazy like that. I think before that, there was a round which I think was a David Tua round where David Tua threw so many punches. Jarrell Miller beat that. I think he beat that. I stand to be corrected. I don't know if that's the same Jarrell Miller. If that is, then Daniel Dubois has got his work cut out. He's got his work cut out, but that's a really good fight. And it could be the best fight of the card in terms of action pack, because I think Daniel Dubois for the first 5 or 6 rounds goes for it. After that, he is left wanting a little bit, but he goes for it. We'll see. Shakur Stevenson, I got to stop being in the gym all the time. That's how you cause injuries. Yeah, who am I to argue with that? You know, it depends what you're doing in the gym, right? If he's all the time sparring, then yeah, maybe you need to rest the body. Look, he clearly had a problem with his left hand in that fight. There was an issue there, but he needs to stop making excuses about the performance and almost stop the back and forth with certain people who have clowned the performance. Just let it go. Let it go. It was a bad performance. We move on and we'll see what next. And what next, hopefully, knowing Shakur, will be a very good performance. Solomon Dakers made best of short notice clash. Vows to be sharper in next fight. I just don't think it's there. I don't think it's there. Like, I hear a lot of good stories about Solomon Dakers when it comes to sparring. Like, a lot of good stories. And I just wonder if he's one of those guys that leaves it in the gym, because I've seen Solomon Dakers now up close and personal a few times. Obviously, was previously with Matchroom. And, you know, like, if I'm frank, I think the fight to make next is David Adelaide. I don't think Solomon Dakers is ready for Fabio Wardley. Not at all. I think David Adelaide is the next one to make, and then we'll see. Adelaide is going to be hungry to prove something, and Solomon Dakers off that performance is going to be hungry to prove something as well. All right, let's talk Katy Taylor versus Chantelle Cameron. This weekend, I fly out to Dublin on Friday morning. I'll be speaking to both Chantelle and Katy at the weigh-ins. You know, it's the old adage, isn't it? Repeat or revenge. It's the old saying, repeat or revenge. And look, before we kind of break it down, I'll start straight off the bat by saying I think repeat. I think repeat. I think Chantelle's just a bit too fresh for Katy, a bit too big. Now she's going into that ring a lot more confident as well. She would have been a bit nervous first time around. Should have been. Of course you're going to be. You're going away. It's Katy Taylor's homecoming. It's Katy Taylor, right? You'd have been a bit nervous. And you know, as soon as the bell rang, she dominated, didn't she? She bullied Katy. Katy has hand speed, but I think she was a bit surprised at how fast Chantelle was as well. Chantelle was good. She was going to the body, and she went up top when she needed to. And even those rounds where Katy did fire back, it's almost like Chantelle's like, I'm the away fighter, I've got to win these rounds, and kind of all the time ended the rounds well. She put Katy on the ropes a lot. Katy doesn't like fighting on the back foot like that. Katy normally tries to bully herself, and she just couldn't. And I'd love to know what they weighed in the ring, because Chantelle just looked a couple of weights higher. A couple, not one, a couple. So, look, I think we're going to see a better Chantelle. That being said, I think we all know how special Katy Taylor can be and is. And I think there could be one last special performance in her. I really do. She would, obviously, look, she has an ego, as every fighter should have, right? And, you know, she's like, let's run it back. But I'm sure, and I asked this to Barry Jones and Darren Barker, we did a bit of a breakdown. I was like, what would she have looked at in that first fight to say, okay, look, let's go again. Let's go again at 140. And they kind of pointed out a few good things that Katy Taylor did that she needs to do a bit more as well. So Katy would have noticed those things as well. Like, again, hand speed, does favour Katy Taylor. Foot speed does favour Katy Taylor. And Katy Taylor should be, if we're basing it on the history of what she's done in the sport, be a better boxer as well, technically. So Katy Taylor does have some advantages in this fight, but one thing we don't really discuss with female boxing, and I don't know why we don't do it. We do it just like that all the time when it comes to men's boxing. Like right now, a good example is Joseph Parker's done because of the fight with Joe Joyce. Like, you know, he's done physically. Katy Taylor's had some wars, and everyone will point to the Serrano one. And, you know, you can go back. The 2 fights with Delphine Persoon would have taken a hell of a lot out of her. Tasha Jonas fight would have taken a lot out of her. Linda Darty would have taken a lot out of her. This Chantelle Cameron fight would have taken a lot out of her. She's had a long career in boxing, a long career. All the sparring as well, the making weight, that can't be easy for her as well. And you just wonder how much is left in the tank. How much is left? Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. And the thing about Katy now, and Katy's not a puncher, but now she stands in the pocket with you, and it's exciting for us fans, right? But she stands in the pocket with you and has a fight. Whereas you go and watch Katy Taylor early fights, don't get me wrong, she does that burst, but then she's in and out. She does that burst and then she circles and she boxes. Now, though, it's almost as though she has to stand in the middle and have a trade. And look, if she does that against Chantelle Cameron, there's only going to be one winner. And look, I hate to say it, if she does that against Chantelle Cameron this time round, Chantelle Cameron might stop her. She might stop her. Again, look, Amanda Serrano was that close to stopping her, and Amanda Serrano is a small girl moving up. Chantelle Cameron's a big girl coming down. She's got the power. She's got the pop. If she sits on her shots, she can cause Katy all sorts of problems. So look, I'm gonna edge towards Chantelle again. But if Katy does that in that arena, which is sold out by the way, which is fantastic, the noise in that place is going to be insane, insane. So yeah, looking forward to it. Always look forward to Katy Taylor fights. She brings it. She provides entertainment, but I can't see it. I can't see it. Wilder says Parker fight on December 23rd should be main event. People want to see knockouts, excitement. Yeah, I think they'll probably get that with AJ versus Otto Wallin. I mean, obviously there's still a discussion about that, isn't there? There's still a discussion as to what is the main event. And I thought by the way they walked out of the press conference with Wilder walking out last, I thought that meant Wilder is main event. But I'm guessing there still is a debate about it. It'd be weird to see AJ as co-main, but Wilder Parker is former champion versus former champion. So I don't know. It could be a case of that is the main event. What we haven't spoke about, guys, and we probably do need to do a separate video on it, is this AJ link up with Ben Davidson. Obviously, look, I asked AJ when I sat down with him, like, what's going on with your training camp? Like, talk to us, and he didn't want to say anything. Didn't say anything. So I don't know, make of that what you want. But look, I don't like it. And that's not a case of I don't like Ben Davidson, because I actually do. I think Ben Davidson's a very good trainer who actually gets critiqued far too much for someone that's actually achieved quite a lot in the sport of boxing. I just don't like the idea of changing trainers so much. Don't like the idea of it. You had Rob McCracken for so many years and you brought so much success with Rob McCracken. And look, I did think that that journey had come to the end. But now in 4 fights, you would have used 3 different trainers. Am I right? Or was that 5 fights? No, 5 fights, 3 different trainers. Robert Garcia, obviously, for the first Usyk fight. And then it's been Derek James for what? Robert Garcia for the second Usyk fight. Derek James for 2 fights since then. And now Ben Davidson. I don't get it. I don't get it. Some people are saying it's because Derek James didn't want to come over here and train AJ. I don't know how true this is. And AJ didn't want to go over to Texas. I'm sorry. If it's the latter, that AJ didn't want to go over to Texas, that's Derek James's gym. Like, you go to his gym. You want to get the best out of Derek James. Derek James needs to be in his comfort zone, which is his gym. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. I don't understand. But look, we'll do a separate video on that. Once I get clarification as to what has happened, as opposed to me just talking rumors, we'll do a video on it. Trust me. All right, guys, I think that might be it. There are other bits and bobs. We'll do a few more videos. Yeah, we'll do a few more videos throughout the week. I am on Thursday doing some football. I'm doing Chelsea ladies in the Champions League at Stamford Bridge, which is quite a big one. Paris FC. A bit nervous because I don't, you know, when it's not your expert subject, But I should get through it. We'll see. All right, guys, girls, peace and love.